let's focus on this IC. So as you see here, the pins of this IC is close. So the pins of this IC and also for this IC is close to each other. Okay, so it's not easy to take measurement here using the multimeter. Of course, if you are a professional or an expert in electronics, you can do that. But for a normal technician or for a beginner, it's not easy. Okay, let's assume that you can take a measurement in these pins. What about this? Okay, what about this IC? All these pins are close to each other. There is a big probability to damage this IC, especially if your multimeter probes are not thin, are bigger. And let's assume also that you can take measurement in this IC. What about this? Okay, as you see, all the pins are close to each other. I guarantee for you, if you try to take measurements in this IC, in the pins of this IC directly, you will damage this IC. So the question is, how can I test this IC, or how can I take the measurements on this IC without damaging it? I will show you the secret, and I will show you how to do this with a 0% probability of error. I show you how. And this is the secret that expert and professional in electronic use every day to test and to troubleshoot, identify and fix motherboards, electronic and computer motherboard issues. So let's get started. Let's take a look to this IC. As you see here, this IC is damaged. As you see, the cause of damage for this IC is the short circuit, as you see here. So when this technician tried to take measurement here, blow out, as you see. First, let's see this component. This is some electronic component. Normally, it's not a component, but we find this in many electronic motherboards, as you see. So this is test point, okay? This is this point with many colors. So often in some motherboards, you can find some test point. As you see, this test point are used to take measurement and to check whether the motherboard or the electronic circuit, the motherboard or the electronic motherboard is okay or not. So the definition of test points is: a test point is a place within an electronic circuit that is used to either control the state of an electronic circuit or to insert test signals. It is also used to verify that a newly collected device is working correctly before it is put on the market. So as you see here, this is a picture for a processor. Okay, so this is the body of the processor, and this sign or this hole means the pin number 1, as you see. So this is the pin number 1. So this is the pinout of this processor or the CPU, as you see. And what is important for us is the extension. Okay, so as you see, this is the extension for all these pins, also for these pins, and for this and for this. Okay, so instead of taking measurements directly in the pins, for example, let's take this and this. Instead of taking the measurement here, use this extension, as you see, because the space here is not like the space here. So if you use these pins, you can damage this IC or this processor because these pins is close to each other, okay? But here there is a long space, so you can use the multimeter to take measurement here without any problem, okay, and without any risk. Okay, the same for all these pins. If you want to take measurement, for example, for these two pins, as you see the same space here and here, you can put, for example, the black probe here and the red probe not here but here. So as you see, this is another astuce that you can use for the pins that have the extensions the same as the space in the pins. Okay, so here the same principle. As you see, this is another processor image, as you see, and this is extension. So for all ICs you can find extension for the all ICs. So this is the same principle, as you see. So for example, here if you look here, we have, so this is a simple component. For this component you can take measurement simply, for example, for this resistor. So there is here, we have here enough space, so there is no problem. IC, this is our topic is for ICs. So look here, as you see, this is just a part of an IC, okay? As you see here, so this is the IC pins, as you see. So if you use the multimeter probes, if you put here the black probe and the red probe here, there is a probability or the possibility to make a short circuit here and then damage the circuit. So simply you can use our circuit. So by putting one probe here and another not here but here, because this is the extension for this pin. So you can simply put, for example, the black probe here and the red probe here if you want to take measurement here. Okay, for example, if this is ground, okay, you can use any ground in the motherboard. Okay, so this is the secret of the good maintenance. We will see a lot of examples in order to master and to go deeper in this topic. So the same principle here, for example, as you see, okay, so this is an IC, this is another IC, okay, so the same principle, the pins are very close to each other, okay, the same. So for example, the same for this IC, as you see, for example, if we take this pin, for example, as you see, this is, so the extension for this pin is this point, as you see, the extension for this pin is this point, also for this, okay, etc. So you can use the same principle. So let's see this image also. As you see, for example, for this IC, as you see, very close, as you see, the pins, you cannot do measurement here. You can take measurement here using the probe of your multimeter. For example, let's assume that you want to take measurement in this pin and in this. Be sure that 100% you cannot, okay, because it's not easy, especially for beginners. But there is a simple way to do that. Why? Using the extension, as you see, the extension of this pin is here, as you see, to this PF capacitor, and the extension for this pin is this. So you can, instead of putting the probe here, use this extension simply, okay. Also for this, as you see, for example, for if you want to use these two pins to take measurement, use this extension and this extension. So for this pin, this is its extension, and for this is its extension. The same principle for all those pins. Okay, please pay attention, and this course is very important for every technician and every engineer. Okay, so this is the secret of the good repairing. Okay, I use this technique every single day, and I'm sure that every professional and every engineer use this technique. So for you as a beginner, this is the first secret if you want to master the electronic fields. So let's continue with this slide. As you see, this is a part of the random access memory. Okay, so as you see here, this is all these pins are connected to this component. Okay, so let's assume also here that, for example, you want to check this resistor. By the way, this resistor, this is a network resistor. Okay, all these are network resistor, and this component is the PF capacitor. Okay, so let's assume, for example, that you want to check, okay, these two pins. For example, let's assume that you should or you want to check these two pins. For example, let's assume that this pin and this pin should give you, using the multimeter, 9 volt, for example. So to check these two pins, avoid to use the probe over here, to put the multimeter probe over this pin directly. This is the extension for this pin. This is its extension, as you see, this resistor, and for this is its extension. So as you see the space between here and here is not like this. So it is safe to take measurement here than here. Okay, so the same, for example, for this also, as you see, this pin and this pin, as you see. So this is its extension, and for this is its extension. So this is also the same working principle here. Okay, so this is the RAM, or the random access memory picture, okay, for the computer, as you see. So as you see here, for example, this is it's the extension for this pin is in this, and this is the extension for this pin. So for example, for this, in this time, maybe this is the same space between this two and this. Okay, normally the extension for this pin is not here, but it is under this and goes directly to here. So the extension for this pin is this point. Okay, and for this is here. Okay, so for example, let's assume that you want to check between this pin and this. So this is the extension for this pin, so you can put the probe of the multimeter here and put the other here in this pin, not here. Okay, so the same working principle. In this picture, you can use these pins, as you see, because all these pins are connected to these ICs. So you can also take measurements in this pin directly, no problem, because this pin is not like this. Here we have enough space, so you cannot damage the circuit. Okay, so here we have this IC. As you see, this IC have not a clear pins here. Do you see? No pins here, because this IC is an integrated circuit that is connected directly to the motherboard, exactly like the chipsets. Okay, so exactly like this. So this is a chipset, as you see, no pins here. It is connected directly to the motherboard. So how can we test or we check this IC? Simple. You should have first the diagram or the circuit diagram of this IC.
then you can check using the schematic of this IC the connection between the pin that you want to check and is it connected to this resistor, for example, or to this capacitor. When, for example, you want to check a pin that exists under this part, you will find using the schematic that the pin you want to check is connected directly to the PF capacitor. Then you can use the terminal of the PF capacitor to check it. Okay, so for this kind of ICs, it is mandatory to use the schematic or the circuit diagram. Okay. Also for this is another IC, another integrated circuit that you cannot test directly. Even if we have here some extensions as you see, but you cannot see clearly the pins. So you should use the circuit diagram